Hey, welcome back to the podcast.
Crosspoints podcast with Orah
and David. She's got me going.
I know. I'm like so good at putting myself first.
She's so good. She's so good. Orah, not only are we going to put you first in the title of the podcast,
yes,
but today,
oh boy,
we are going to right here now. We're going to call this the Orah episode.
Oh my goodness. Get to know me, guys.
Yes, because you have fans out there.
To know me is to love me. That is it.
I hope you know you have fans. Like, when I get done preaching, oftentimes people go, who's that girl that's with you on the podcast? She's so awesome.
Oh
and I'm like,
goodness.
Hey, I'm on the podcast too.
That's great. I'll continue to remind my husband that he married up.
Yes, he did. You have some fans. And fans, I think, want to know a little bit about you and the things that you're passionate about.
Oh my gosh, I have so many passions.
And of course, I'm sure
Pull
you're
up a
passionate
chair.
for your family.
Of course, who isn't?
And your little baby boy.
Yes, and obviously Jesus.
Of course, Jesus.
Obviously.
Yes, I would hope so. But one of the things I understand that you also have a big passion for is for reading.
I have a big passion for reading.
Like, folks, I just want you to know, this is not just like she reads a lot. Like, no, she reads a lot.
I think last year I read somewhere in the 120-ish book realm. I love reading.
Hold it. 120 books?
Yeah.
That's like 10 books a month.
Yep. Yeah. I love reading,
I
David.
don't even know what to say to that.
I love reading. Not only is it so good for you, for your brain, for conversation, for relaxing, but I don't know. I am such a fan of reading, and I was so late to the game. I think that was a big thing for me.
Really? Okay. So,
yes.
So dive into that just for a second. So the question is then, how did you get into reading?
Yes. Okay. So, in school when they make you read the world's worst books. Yes.
Why do they do that?
Some would call it required reading, and others would call it please stop, meaning me read these awful books.
You're killing me.
Yes. So I hated reading growing up. I wasn't very good at it.
Okay.
And I don't know. Do you really like reading a book and dissecting every single line and really reading into it? Because I'm not into that personally.
No, not at all. I was in the advanced English in high school.
Mm-hmm. He's kind of tuning his own.
Yes, exactly.
Is it kind of embarrassing that he's talking about high school right now?
When it's supposed to be the Orah episode, now I'm talking about myself. No.
I was advanced.
But when I was in the advanced reading classes, they would make you almost dissect that line by line.
Brutal.
And then this relates to this, and
the
this is
symbolism
that,
and
yes, and all the stuff, and it ruined the book.
It ruins books. It ruins reading.
Right.
So I was not into reading at all. Excuse me, microphone.
Okay.
I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
I was not into reading at all, and at one point I kind of decided, why are we forced to read these awful books? I'm just gonna read what I like, because like movies or TV. There's something that you like. There's something that's your genre that you're interested in.
Right.
And if you don't like reading, you just don't realize that you're reading the wrong genre.
So it's not that you don't like reading.
Yes.
I'm talking to you out there. It's not that you don't like reading, it's that you haven't found the right genre.
Yes, you're reading the wrong books.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Reading the wrong books, right.
That's it. So you've got to find what's your mojo.
Okay, so tell me, you were reading these awful books in school.
Yes.
And then something clicked.
Yeah, I kind of got into a crew of people who were reading more of young adult novels, and I still read young adult novels.
You're still a young adult.
I am, but I will tell you,
young.
anybody could read young adult novels. The big thing with young adult is that it doesn't have a lot of superfluous information in it. So
superfluous.
Ayo, I'm a reader. Big words.
Doesn't have a lot of extra for those of you out there.
Yes.
Doesn't have a lot of
so
extra stuff.
when you're reading a regular fiction book, you might be like, I just read 2 chapters and I just realized it has really nothing to do with the book. It's a lot of background.
It's really true.
And that does not happen in a young adult novel. So if you want to just get to a quick story, just get into it.
Okay.
That's a young adult novel has that, and it's a big perk. It's a big perk of reading it that way.
I did not know that.
Yeah, see, you might like a lot of young adult.
Give me now I'm putting you on the spot here, but give me your top 1 or 2 young adult fiction books
Okay.
that someone out there would be like, that's kind of interesting. Maybe I
Okay.
should read something
Yeah.
like that.
So
and who knows, maybe I might read it.
There you go.
Or maybe I'll read 60% of it.
If you, that's more likely. If you like a cute story,
Okay.
like your heart just smiles while you read it. I like The Distance Between Us by Casey West. That's
Hold
really
it.
good.
Was that a movie too? Did they
It's
make it?
not, but it should be.
It sounded like a movie that I knew. Okay, The Distance Between Us.
The Distance Between Us,
Okay.
really quick, cute read.
We'll put a link.
Yes.
Okay.
If you like something that's maybe more like action packed or something like
Okay,
that.
good.
Marie Lu has a series called Legend, and that's really
Legend.
good. Phil,
Okay.
my husband, has read it as well. It's really fun,
okay.
young adult, more like action-packed one.
Now hold it. When you say young adult, is it gonna? If I read it, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, am I gonna be like, man, this is really kiddish?
I don't think you will be.
Okay.
I think that, the characters will be younger than you.
Oh, I know that's fine.
Yeah, but
I just mean like the style of the writing. Am I
No.
gonna feel like?
And here's the thing,
because
yeah.
I hear Legend and I go, ooh, that sounds interesting.
I know.
I might want to read that. But then my brain went to, it's probably gonna be like a
too
sixth
young.
grade.
I
kind
know.
of
People
thing.
think that. Here's
I
the
do.
deal.
Okay.
The authors of young adult are often older adults.
Shocking, of course. I mean, I would imagine.
I
that would
know.
be the case.
So they can write for an adult because
Okay.
they're also adults. But
Okay.
yeah, I think that the audience you can start reading it as a young adult, but that does not mean that you have to be a young adult to be reading it.
Okay.
You can start reading it in that time period. You might be interested in it at that time period. It's really young adult is just, it has such a bad rap, but it's so anybody can read it, and honestly, you will like. It's a great spot to start reading if you don't really like reading. If you think you don't like
so
reading, young adult's
this is a good
great
place
one.
to jump in
Yes.
and dive into the whole reading experience.
Totally.
Okay.
Especially because a lot of them aren't humongous books, and you really shouldn't start reading like a Dietrich Bonhoeffer type book when you're just like, I'm gonna try reading.
That's really true. That is very true. Okay, so you were in high school. You were reading books that you hated,
Mm-hmm.
and so then when the light bulb clicked on, was it like out of high school? Was you still in high school?
I think
it
I was
college?
like maybe more of a senior in high school, but it wasn't. Well, okay. I ditched one of my finals in high school to go see the Sister to the Traveling Pants movie when it came out. Because that's what makes me think that I must have started reading in high school, because me and my whole crew loved that series, and we just kind of got, should you be going to your classes? Yes. Did I? No. But I loved, a book into a movie. Who doesn't love that? But
Right.
yeah, so
Okay,
I would say
so maybe kind of your latter part of high
latter
school.
part of high school,
and
but
so-
I really started upping my reading game at the end of college, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say. Now, throughout college, you also have books that you have to
I
read,
know. I
too.
read a lot more like theological books and stuff, and then that kind of tanked a
Exactly.
lot more of my reading because you're
Okay.
just kind of not reading for pleasure anymore. as
So
much.
reading became then not just something that you did; it became almost an obsession. Can I almost say
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
I'm trying
I
to put
really
words
have
in
a
your mouth.
passion for like getting other people to read.
Yes.
I like really want to like debunk the required reading and just get people to just start reading, because I just think it's such a good pastime.
Right.
It's just so fun. You can read out loud. I know a couple of people who like with their spouses, they read books out loud in bed. That's what they do before
Really?
bed. It's the
Have you
cutest
done
thing.
that?
I've never done it. And here's the deal: Phil and I both we would want to be the reader. Like, I think we would zone out when the other person's reading.
We got some control issues
I
going
know.
on here.
So I don't know if it'd work for us, but we'll see. And it's so good. There's audiobook options if you feel like
Right.
you take it in more audibly. That's
Yeah.
On your drive and stuff. There's just so many great ways to get good books that you don't have to read To Kill a Mockingbird. You don't have to read
Right.
Of Mice and Men. No, read something better.
Come
read
on.
something
There's
good.
lots of stuff out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so you took this like reading obsession to like even really a whole nother level.
Yes.
Because I don't know the story, so I'm finding it out just like you. I understand you're a bookstagrammer.
I'm a
Is
bookstagrammer.
that right? So
Yep.
tell us what a bookstagrammer is, and
Yeah.
how in the world did you get started on that?
Totally. So Instagram, you may have heard of it. There's a whole section of Instagram that's just like book people, and that we call that bookstagram.
Okay.
And so it's just like, I post about books all the time is what I do. So like books
Your
I'm
120
reading.
books that you read last year,
Yes.
you would like.
I would be like, hey, this is a 5-star. I also read romance, so I'll rate the steam level. I'll be like, this was a 4-star, but the steam level was really high or really low. If you like prefer that.
Steam level?
I know
What
it.
are you
I
talking
know.
about?
Why not have a star level and then also be like, I'm uncomfortable
This
reading
is
that
this is a
amount of
Christian
steam.
podcast.
I know.
just want you to
Listen,
know.
some people might read really graphic things that are like about, maybe a rape scene or something. I would prefer a consensual sex scene. That's what if I'm going to read it in a book, I prefer consensual.
So I'm getting a little uncomfortable here, Laura. Let's move on.
Are we adults, David?
Yeah, we are.
So, okay, so I have like romance, I have young adult,
Right.
I read kids' books to my kids.
Right, okay.
I don't read thrillers, but I read like dystopian.
Yeah. Okay, no.
All kinds of stuff,
so,
and I post it on my bookstagram.
Okay,
account.
that's where I was trying to go. Okay, I know
Yes.
you read all this stuff, but you post it, and so like, what are you doing? Taking pictures of the book, or
you take pictures of the books.
Oh, you do?
Yes,
Okay.
you take pictures of the books, and then you might just say like a review of it or something. Or a lot of times publishers will send me books that I'm reading and reviewing for them, like before they come out, so you can like either say like, hey, you guys need to all go buy this book,
Now,
or
hold
not.
it. How in the? Look, she's a big deal here.
Boy.
How do you get publishers to send you free books?
I
mean, I've never had a publisher send me.
It's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. Yeah, so if you've gotten like quite a bit of a following, or you have like a lane that you're in for romance or young adult or whatever, those publishers will realize that people will look at your information and they'll want to buy the book if you say that you like the book.
You're an influencer.
You're an influencer.
Wow.
I'm a book influencer.
I had no idea.
Yes, and
Okay.
so I started Bookstagram because I have a blog.
Okay.
My Week is Booked blog is what it's called, myweekisbooked.com.
We'll put a link there. For
And
you,
and so I have like my required reading lists and like their required reading lists, where I like read books that are required reading in schools and pretty much tear them apart, or then the books that I think you should read. So if you like fiction, these are the books that you should. This should be your required reading list.
Okay.
If you like
Okay.
this should be your required reading
Hold
list.
up. I know I'm interrupting you again, but I just have to. So are you telling me you put the list of reading requirements for a typical school or whatever, and then you say,
Yes.
and you put your own.
I make my own.
You make your own.
Yes. I say, here's books that every American should read is the list I have. Here's books that if you like young adult novels, these are books that you should read. This is your
Okay, and
required
this is
reading
on your
list.
blog.
This is on my blog, yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
There we go. So
I think I liked when we first kind of got to know each other. I like stalked you a little bit on Instagram, and then I went to your blog, but I didn't even really look at it.
Yeah,
I was just like, oh, she's got a blog.
I've got a blog.
I'll have to find that. I'll have to find that list.
There we go. And so I kind of did Bookstagram as
Okay.
a way to promote the blog, and then I've
Okay.
kind of gotten more into Bookstagram than the blog. So sometimes I kind of go in phases. I also have a books and baking section on my blog. So if you want to like have a book club, you can bake stuff that goes with the books.
That's
and
fun.
all kind of, it's just kind of a fun creative outlet.
Now, you also told me that you travel. I mean, you actually travel with your
Yes.
book blogging.
I do.
So tell me about some of
Yeah,
those
I went to a
experiences.
big book conference in New York called
Okay.
BookCon, where there's hundreds of authors, thousands of bloggers,
Okay.
and bookstagrammers and readers, and you just get to meet the authors. The publishers are
Okay.
there. HarperCollins is a huge publisher, and they reposted my posts while I was there. And Reese Witherspoon has a book club, and she reposted me while I was there. So it was really
Wow.
exciting, really fun.
You read some. She really is a
Some
big
big
deal. We say this,
circles.
but come on, look at this. So
Yeah,
they
so-
reposted your stuff.
Yeah, so like
I mean, that's like quite an honor.
it's really exciting.
Yeah.
It's like you feel like really cool when it happens. You're like, oh my gosh, Reese Witherspoon just reposted me.
She's reading my
I know, it's so cool. So I went to this book conference, and it was just, I mean, it's nuts. It was packed. It was
Okay. Like, how many people are we talking about?
oh my gosh, like 10, 12,000.
10 or 12
people.
Are you serious? I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
you were talking like a couple hundred people.
No, it was packed. It was nuts.
10,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy. And just go there for the book conference. You just get advanced reader copies of books.
Wow.
And then you just meet the authors, and you can
Okay.
do Q&As and stuff, and it's really cool for the book nerds in you.
I guess.
Really cool.
Okay, so this Bookstagram. So I don't even know if this is an appropriate question to ask.
Yes.
Like, how many followers do you have?
I
Like,
have like 1,800-ish,
Okay.
uppers, 1,800.
almost 2,000 followers.
Yeah. Kind of moving on up slowly but surely.
Do you have like goals that you try to like? I want to have like X amount of people following me. How does that work?
I did before I was like pregnant, and then I was like, I don't know, I'm just trying to like post is my goal right now.
Exactly.
Just trying to keep posting. But yeah, I don't know. My goal is more of interaction, like of the amount of people I want to have a certain amount constantly
You want a
interacting with
tight-knit
me.
community.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't want a lot that I just don't really like that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just, I don't even know who any of these people are, you know, like.
Right, okay.
So I want
That's
a
good.
good percentage of interaction for the number is kind
Actually,
of my goal.
that sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and do you do like, I don't know, contest? I mean, I don't know anything. Do you do contests? Do you do giveaways?
Yeah, I do a lot of
what do you-
giveaways,
yeah.
and I kind of have a couple focuses on there. I have a lot of, like I've decorated my house with a lot of bookish things, so I do that. I do like kind of tutorials. If you want to do a book wall, you could do that, and if you want, like I made a Narnia nook, and like I did, yeah, it's like a little reading nook that feels like Narnia.
Oh,
so
fun.
people could like make that in their own house if they wanted to, and then. I do a lot of giveaways. Yeah, and I do, I have endometriosis, so I do a lot of like endometriosis awareness stuff and books you can be reading about that and stuff. I get a lot of followers that way that are just trying to get some information about endometriosis. So
Interesting.
it's kind of cool. You just are so connected with other people and hopefully improving their reading lives.
Yes,
So.
exactly. Okay, so if you were gonna talk to our listeners out there, which you are,
Yes.
and you were gonna recommend like your top 5-star book.
Oh my
And I
gosh,
know
that's just such
not-
a that's like
that's
asking
not-
for your favorite child. That's
Exactly.
So
I
ridiculous.
mean, that's just crazy. So you're let's just say like, you know, the one book that you've read over the years that you're just
Okay.
like, man, maybe I keep coming back to it. Like, is
Okay.
there one book that kind of keeps drawing
Oh
you back?
my gosh.
Is
Okay.
there? Come on, I'm pulling.
Well, the
I'm
first
pulling it out
book
of
that
it.
I ever read that I fell in love with was a young adult book called The Truth About Forever, and I reread that book every year.
See, okay, so that's
Yeah,
not a reasonable
I know.
question that I just asked you.
I reread that book every year. It's just like I just love that book. Made me fall in love with reading for sure. So
Really?
I just reread it and
What was
enjoy
it about the story that like really made you fall in love with it?
It was kind of like it was kind of a story where you felt like the angst between like teens and parents, which you feel a lot when you're growing up,
Yeah.
and then just like striving for more and like getting confidence as a teen, just like things that I could like really identify with that I loved. And yeah, it was a cute like little love story in it too. That was like, you know, so adorable. I still root for them every time I read it. You can do it, you guys. Get together.
She knows the ending, but she's still rooting for it. That's pretty awesome. Okay, so I think one question that most of the viewers are going to ask.
Yes.
Like you read 120 books. Mm-hmm. Like where do you find the time?
I know people ask me that a lot.
Well, I think it's the number one question I
Yes,
would ask.
people
Like,
ask me that a lot.
you know, because I think the cynical person would be like, well, she's not doing anything else but
I
reading.
know.
I
They're
mean,
like,
come
is
on.
she
Does
raising children?
Right.
What is she doing with her time?
What does she do? Right.
I know.
But I'll say this.
Yeah.
I think people that have passion for things, they find the time to do it.
Totally.
So it's not just reading. It's like if you own a boat, you're going to spend your time with
Yeah.
your boat. If
Yes,
you're going to run, I run. I spend time running.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
You just do. So
Exactly.
But when do you like to read? How do you find that time?
Yeah, okay, so I do listen to audiobooks. That helps a lot. If I'm doing laundry or anything, there's an audiobook going.
See, that's interesting.
It helps a
Okay,
lot.
Yeah.
I read to my kids. We do something called tea time where they have like lemonade in a little teacup and they get to color or do like something while I'm reading a book that's like above their reading level. It's supposed to help them with just development. So we read like that all the time. And then I read a lot at night.
Okay, sure, I can understand.
Yes.
That. Yeah.
I do have insomnia, so that helps a lot. I read a lot to bed and stuff like that. But
okay.
also I just like read. Yeah, I'll read in the morning. I read at night.
Okay.
And it's just there's more time to read than you think that there is. Like I think if you're like, oh, well, you read at night. Well, you might watch like 4 episodes of a TV show.
It's really true.
And I could
right?
watch 1 episode of a TV show and finish a third of a book.
It's a really great point.
Yeah.
And I would think probably these 120 books that you read, some of these are kids' books, which are probably not. I mean, they take
Yes.
you all of what, maybe 20 or 30 minutes to read.
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
some of them.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't always put in kids' books when I read them very
Okay.
often, but I mean, probably the smallest book I read would be 100-ish pages or something like that. Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think that, you know, because again, I tend to default way more to TV than I do to reading.
Yeah.
But I know that when I start to read, like it enhances my reading and I want to continue to read more.
Totally.
And
Yes.
it's like getting on a bike. You know, you get on a bike and then you want to bike and you want to continue to bike. But if you stop biking for a while, then it's really hard to get back on it.
Totally.
Right?
And I want to encourage listeners that if you're reading a book and you're not enjoying it, stop reading it. Pick
But
up something else.
You don't have to get to the end.
Yes. pick up something else.
But I want to know what the end is.
Just flip to the end.
Okay,
just flip to the. If you're not
okay.
enjoying it, it's gonna make you stop reading. You're gonna be like, I don't like reading. I just was like, oh, I just read this book. It was so long, and it was so like, don't read it. Read stuff you like reading.
So do you do that yourself?
Oh yeah, we call it DNFing, did not finish, and I DNF books all the time.
Okay, really?
If I give it 100 pages. If I'm not into it in 100 pages, I'm done.
You move on.
Yes, totally.
And so then you'll tell your bookstagram people, hey,
that one was a fail
DNF,
for me. Yep,
so
exactly.
Do not
I didn't like it, for a myriad of reasons, but yeah.
I think I'm going to take this for a second. I think there's something in our high school careers when we're reading and the teacher says, you will finish this book, whether you it's like parents who say, you will finish your meal.
Exactly.
Right? You're going to eat every last bite.
Exactly. You're throwing it up at the table. Too bad. Finish it.
I'm going to recook it for you tomorrow for breakfast.
Totally.
And you're saying, listen, don't do that.
I'm saying don't do it. Reading should be enjoyable. I mean, there's just so many benefits of reading. You should enjoy it. It should be relaxing to you.
Yeah,
just
good.
Read what you enjoy and don't apologize for it.
Right. Fascinating. Okay. One last question. Tell me about your husband, and have you been able to move the needle for him on reading books?
Yes!
And tell me about how that looked like when you first met, and then where he is now.
Yeah, he was not a reader at all. I mean, not that he couldn't read. He's more than clear, but he just wasn't into reading.
That wasn't his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And now, I mean, even since we've had the baby, he's been reading so much while he's up doing a feed or doing anything. He's just like, oh my goodness, I can't believe how much I'm reading this year.
Wow.
And I've really gotten him into audiobooks, and he drives downtown for work, so it's like a good 35-minute drive, and he's finishing audiobooks. And I think that's really, there's just something about a high of finishing a book that makes you want to start another one.
Exactly.
So I'm really, he's kind of really upped his reading game, which is really fun. And it's really fun on like a winter night to have a fireplace on and we can both read together. It's just kind of a fun thing that
you're not reading the same thing, but we're just
in the room reading together. And it's fun. Sometimes you only watch TV. It's just kind of fun to just kind of sit and read and talk about what you're reading and be like, oh, you think I would like that book? All right, I'll try it. It's kind of fun.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Or you make me want to read now.
You need to read. Do it.
Maybe I'll read The Legend.
There you
see
go.
what that looks like.
Yeah, that's a really fun series.
So fun.
Yes.
Okay. Very cool.
Give it a shot. And check out my blog. There's tons of suggestions if you want to start in a specific genre. And if you don't know where to start, books that every American should read is a great place of where to start because we're all Americans. We should read it.
Okay, hold it. You just said that. You mean that's on your blog?
That's
books
on my
Americans
blog. Books that every American needs to read.
Okay.
Just
So
really
tell everybody again what your blog. How do they get there? And we'll link it to you.
www.myweekisbooked.com. And if you want to find me on Instagram, it's My Week Is Booked blog, and you can find me there too.
Great. Let's get her up to 2,000.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Okay, well, great. Well, Orah, thank you for sharing a little bit of your passion.
I'm happy to.
So
pick up a book. Somebody tell me what you're reading.
Hey,
comment and tell me what you're reading.
Great. Yeah, pick up. If anybody ever gets one of those series that she recommended, let us know.
Let me know.
Thanks for joining us today. Have a great week.
Bye.